Hello viewers, my name is Dr. Vikela. Welcome to another episode of The Unusual Brief, your favorite show on Zimbabwe Television Network. Today I'm moving with a beautiful lady. Sean is not feeling well, you know. Takambofungati malaria, it was not. Takambofungati January disease, it was not. Takambofungati msangano. Mnozia msangano. Takambofungati series also. Takambofungati pamwe akaenda kunhama kanodya ice cream. Takambofungati series also. But still, today I'm with the beautiful Sokostina. How are you doing, Soko?
I didn't even greet girls like that.
How do you greet girls?
You kiss the hand.
I'm not being unfaithful to my wife. It's part of the job. And now kiss and I go.
Well, you know, Vikela, it's an exciting season that we're in. And you know, Zimbabwe is on the eve of elections. And there is so much anxiety around this biggest political contest to ever happen in this country. But the biggest phenomenon that is affecting the country is the intra-political violence. We just want to find out that what happens when people continuously in their own parties cause violence. Do they get reprimanded? What are the measures that we have to take around them, you know, and their actions?
The biggest problem is when people give them fly names like inter. Then violence becomes fly.
It becomes bougie violence.
Yeah, bougie violence, yeah. Yeah. No, but on a serious note, I mean, it's parties have to walk the talk. Mm-hmm. Because you realize that I'll throw names, I don't care. Thokozani Kupu was beaten not once, not twice,
but three times.
She's so.
And which is a big issue because it's also women violence. Like that's why women then stay away from politics because she says she's the constituted VP and was supposed to take over when, rest his soul, Honorable Changirai died. Chamisa is a lawyer, let's also say that. He knows the constitution back and forth. And the reason I pick on him is because the intra-party violence keeps on being pointed back at him. So do political parties, within their parties, have somewhere written down to say, ukadai so in terms of violence, this is what's going to happen, or they never anticipate it, so they just leave as is?
Political parties in Zimbabwe have a dangerous precedent DNA that you have to look at. Look at ZANU-PF. They had Robert Mugabe for 37 years. Yes. He kept changing the law to suit himself. You have, may his soul rest in peace, Morgan Jangirai, he was there forever until he passed on. May his soul rest in peace. So you realize that now when leaders are there, this is the time for people to challenge their leaders. Because Chamisa can easily be challenged by his party members.
So who's supposed to challenge him?
The party members, the card-carrying members of the MDC, the council.
So are you saying I cannot go and challenge him for the violence?
You can't, because then he will tell you that I've addressed the issue and the people are going to be brought to book. But in the MDC, they know who did it. They know their position. This people should be fired categorically in the newspaper that Ningi Sokostina, Dr. Vikela, Butisi have been fired. Exactly, because they were involved in this violence.
So how do people who were once united towards the same cause end up at each other's throats and worse, at a woman's throat? The shame.
I think it's the issue of money.
Yeah.
Because you know, that's why they end the game mass.
So you think they want things? And it's tobacco season. So I have a friend who started farming recently, tobacco, very new farmer. But his biggest issue about tobacco farming is those auction floors, that whole space. When people arrive there, apparently there are ways to trick people to get money, and they're improvising and making them better and tighter. What should these farmers do? Because apparently, even the sex workers get very creative. Even the car dealers get very creative. Everybody gets very creative on how to extort money from these farmers. Should we then find ways to say, no, mari? I don't know, how do we help them out? Because they look so helpless. Have you seen, do you know how hard it is to farm tobacco? And then someone just comes on, the whole season.
It's inevitable, one. Two, I think the issue of Tumira Mari defeats the whole purpose and the excitement of saying, so I think the government or whoever is behind buying the tobacco does their part by giving them their money, hard money, and then when they leave the premises,
money.
No, but I mean not only hard money, eco cash or putting in the bank, right? So when they leave the premises, this is when all hell breaks loose. After they have gotten their money and everything, then someone says, so we are saying people should be wise enough to know how to invest the money, and they need to be taught that. Even in America, pickpockets, fraudsters, people will always hustle you out of your hard-earned cash. So it's
My heart bleeds though. My heart really bleeds because tobacco is
for
the
the
most
tobacco or for the money?
for both.
Or for both? Okay.
For both. I do love both. But I mean that somebody can actually swindle you out of hard-earned money. Like tobacco auction floor.
I mean, before we go for the break, I can only say chance favors the brave. See you after a short break. Don't go anywhere. I'm still with Sokosti.
They say a life in an industrial age without technology is a life not fulfilled.
I encourage girls to study technology kind of like coding, there's a voice chat and no.
Yes, we're going to try and find people who know phones that are for under $100 so you can save the most amount of money.
Hi everyone, my name is Marlene and welcome to your favorite tech roundup show, Swipe. For your latest robots, innovation, creative electronics, daring experiments, and local microtechnology, check out an all brand new tech show, Swipe, premieres soon. Visit www.ztn.co.zw.
Welcome back, viewers, to our second segment of the show, Sokostina. We were talking in the first segment about the issues of people getting swindled over their hard-earned cash, and now we're going to be talking about something that is so dear to my heart, the issue of inheritance.
Well, so infuriating to the issues of my heart.
Oh yeah, inheritance. I mean, like when we talk of inheritance, it's people normally bundle it together, but I feel like the most hard done are women when it comes to inheritance. I feel like they are helpless. They
Okay, whoa. Our customary law then is very male dominant. Decisions are made mudare or court, family kangaroo court that decides, and mostly men sitting there and token women come to it. And let's bring to the fore a story that's not even under the carpet, the Elizabeth Changirai situation. Like, what happened? Everybody else was telling her what she could or could not have. Exactly, yeah. But she was working with her husband.
She was, even if she was working with her husband.
She worked in other ways.
Exactly, like she worked in other ways. I mean, like this situation is when he thought of marrying this woman.
Yes.
You were there at the wedding, dancing and eating and imbibing in the holy waters that were there.
My God.
Celebrating. What were you celebrating? We were celebrating that this is a new family member who is becoming the mother of the family. So if you want to chase the hair out, what are you trying to prove?
In essence, what we're saying is we need to educate people about the law.
And thank you, Sokostina, for gracing the show.
I said you kissed
thank you so much for gracing the show. We hope you come back soon because I hope Sean remains in not bedridden, but he's so as you can keep coming and gracing you.
You'll probably get independence
with your locks.
Get away.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you after the break.
The song Kumusha is a quintessential tale of the grass is greener on the other side, and yet when you get to the other side, you realize that the grass is probably greener where you came back from. We getting turned up, Yo, what's up? This is Prophecy. You're watching Word on ZTN. You know what it is.
Poetry for the pain, the scars remain, some of them self-inflicted, forever conflicted, looking for love in all the wrong places. Pinotage, Cabernet, empty cases.
Poetry is definitely, to me, purely expression. My name is Aura the Poet, and this is Word.
Hello viewers, welcome back to the last segment of our show, The Unusual Brief. On the show, I've got a brother of mine who's a PR, communications strategist, a guru in the world of communication, a journalist, a broadcaster. Many of you know him, my brother, Mr. Sugar Chagonda.
It's good seeing you.
Same here, my brother. I know people out there already throwing your nicknames. Do you know you have nicknames out there? Whitehead, Sucre, Sugar. Not Anaimba Sugar. He's not that Sugar. He's our Sugar.
Yes.
With a tie and the clean look. Yeah. But Juliana. Okay, so welcome to the show. And tonight on the show, I invited you because we have issues that are affecting our society today that needs us to look at them with an eye of seriousness and say, what can be done? For example, we have the issue of political violence. They've got fly names like intra, whatever. When political parties have violence against themselves.
Well, thank you very much for having me. My take is that people must not suffer because of politics. Because when we talk about politics, it must be politics for development. It must be politics, it must be defined from the way people must be discussing developmental issues and governance issues. It is quite said that at times people tend to lose lives because of politics. But I think that is a wrong concept altogether, because people must not suffer. We want a situation whereby people will be discussing ideas. It must be, people must create platforms where they discuss ideas, ideologies. People must be selling themselves even as candidates before and during elections. This must define how people will vote. People must be voting for ideas. People must be voting for policies that will tend to be implemented for the development of the country. So it's quite sad that at times you see politicians, so to say, tending to feign violence by way of creating groups that will tend to push or intimidate those people who will not vote for them. But now it's quite sad, because what we want is to see a situation whereby politicians speak against violence, all forms of violence. We want people to be encouraged to debate, we want people to have dialogue, especially in terms of political ideas.
Earlier on, a point came up. Like I know I might be putting you on the spot here, but that the issue of leadership then leads to problems of violence. I'll elaborate. For example, if a party is led by one person for a long time, what tends to happen is that the people within the party are then under a patronage system where they cannot speak, where they cannot raise their heads. You have political parties being led in Africa as a whole by leaders who have been for more than 2 decades. And at the end of the day, the violence that happens is ignored.
Yes, certainly. Of course, you are talking about situations where you have one person ruling the country for a long time. Of course, it comes at a cost, because certainly this will also lead to the decay of democracy. Even the way people discuss politics, it will be difficult, and it creates a situation of patronage. At the end of the day, that's why you find situations whereby there is too much bootlicking. People will be hero worshipping at the expense of discussing salient issues that will actually spare development of the country. So that is actually wrong. Yes, at times we might have intra-party politics whereby we have intra-political party violence. I think even in such situations, the law must apply across the board, regardless of whether it is internal disputes. At the end of the day, where there is violence, I think that will be happening ultra vires the legal framework of the country. So at the end of the day, I think there is need for the law or justice to take course regardless of any situation, because at the end of the day, that will be violation even of human rights, violation of any particular rights. So I think the laws of the country must apply regardless of the situation.
Well said. Violence is not a solution. I think you have to sell your ideas, sell them. We will look at them, we will peruse, and then we say, yeah, we can vote. If not, then we can just stay at home and get on with our business. Moving right along, there's an issue that is the tobacco season. And tobacco season comes with joy, and already we're hearing news that it's going to be a good harvest, and the prices, they've been upped a bit. So it's good news for the farmers. But then there's something that happens every time we get to this stage where people sell their tobacco, they are conned. they are, you know, like zvinongoitika mudara zvatonzi akabirwa kufotla akazodai envelope in a newspaper. How best can we deal with that? Because now the issue is maybe because pavanopiwa mari handitika, is it the issue to do with the way they are paid, or how can we make sure our farmers are protected and motivated for the next season?
Yeah, I think what farmers should do is to make sure that they use formal systems in terms of their transactions, business transactions. The good thing is, I think there is migration from the use of hard currency to the use of plastic money, e-commerce. I think that is also the route that the farmers need to go by, whereby they use their plastic money. They don't need to move around with hordes of cash. Gone are the days where you would want to be seen good shoroma in a mari. I think gone are the days. Now you need to migrate to the use of plastic money. They don't need to fall to these yesteryear tricks where people are conned of their hard-earned cash. It's quite sad, but I think what is quite imperative is that even these organizations that do buy, like, of course, tobacco, they also need to use their systems, communication systems, to make sure that they also educate these farmers. Farmers, of course, on their part, they don't need to be overzealous, because when they've got lots of cash, it's, you know, human weaknesses. They tend to be overzealous. They tend to want to show off. Gone are the days. Now they need to make sure that they use formal systems, be it in terms of payments, be it even in terms of purchasing goods and services. That will actually reduce the risk of being conned. Because the conmen, of course, they have since perfected their art of stealing. So you need to, of course, to implement counter strategies by making sure that they use formal systems. So there's no way that a farmer who has been working the whole season, making lots of money, would like to double his monies maybe through other trickery ways. There's no way. So they just need to make sure that they use formal systems. And we are also urging those entities that do buy tobacco to make sure that they also invest in educating farmers, to give them more information so that they are not caught on the wrong side, whereby they are cheated at the end of the day.
So before we wrap up this show, there is a trend, you know, like we are saying this on the backdrop of how widows, not only widows, but the issue of inheritance. When someone dies, when a key member of the family dies, normally when fathers die, mostly, when fathers die, yeah, the family, the wife, normally they are treated in a bad manner, they are chased away. Everything that they worked for, the husband is taken away from them. You see, so what do you think? Because it's something that happened recently with Elizabeth Trangirai, and it's something that will continue to happen. But what do you think needs to be done? How can we, save this?
I think certainly we need to curb such situations by, of course, the application of the laws, the laws. Actually, I think there is need to make sure that the laws protect these vulnerable widows, because it is quite sad when you see after someone's death, a spouse is dead, you find that these women, they're actually prone to all kind of abuses, so to say, because remember, they are also mourning, and 3/4 of the time, these are the people who have been staying with the spouse, but soon after burial, you see they are prone to all kind of abuse. It's quite sad, and I think we need to make sure that they are protected by the laws of the country. There is indeed a need to invest in that regard, because if we don't do that, I think we will be creating lawlessness, and we are actually impoverishing people who are supposed to be empowered, because at the end of the day, you find that people who have been working all years, making sure that they have survival by way of consolidating their wealth with their husband. After the death of the husband, we see them prone to all kind of abuse. Usually that is perpetrated by greedy family members. It's quite sad. So I think there's need for us even to be conscious, to have that human face, to have that feeling whereby we cannot just subject people to that kind of abuse. So I think the fundamental thing is to make sure that we also protect their rights by the application of the law.
Komashug, this is the Unusual Brief, the show that unusually talks about brief things like we've just done. But in the Unusual Brief, when we have guests, we would want them to show our viewers something unusual, something that they normally don't do, just for our viewers, for their viewing pleasure.
Something like what?
I don't know, something unusual, something that you rarely do, something that you probably would never do, but on Unusual Brief.
No, before maybe we wrap up, I think there's one way that I need to emphasize, particularly to the Zimbabweans. There are a lot of things that we need to celebrate as Zimbabweans, that those things that divide us or separate us. Like even right now, if you look, there are no disagreements in terms of the colors on the national flag. There are no disagreements in terms of the boundaries of this country, but what might differ are just political views, are just ideas. So there's no need for us to get so emotional to the extent of maybe destroying each other's lives. We need to celebrate and just make sure that at the end of the day, we develop this country, which is so dear to us. I think it's a good platform that you have given me to share with all Zimbabweans. Of course, usually when I'm off air, I get to dance and joke, but today, I'm in a tie. And
No, but you can just show us your dancing skills. You know, just for the viewers. We'll put a soundtrack later on.
normally I dance.
Just a little.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, just even McClarks or I know you can dance rumba, but McClarks or
No, at times I tend to dance rumba.
rumba. Let's go. Zurema, aya jangala wa mama ye kazangala ya ye aye zurema.